Welcome to lesson 52. In this lesson, we're going to talk about order of operations. We're going to follow the order of operations when simplifying an expression. We're going to follow the order of operations when evaluating expressions with variables, and we're going to test whether a calculator has an algebraic logic circuitry. Probably won't spend too much time with the calculator, seeing as how we're doing this online. So our vocabulary is a symbol of inclusions, symbols that are used to set apart portions of an equation or an expression so that to evaluate them first, always work from inside out. So you have parentheses, you have brackets, so you have division bars and a fraction, that type of thing. So in the statement 8 minus 4 bracketed divided by 2, the symbols indicate that the 8 minus 4 should be calculated before dividing by 2. So right here we know that we're going to do this before we do the divide by 2 portion. So our orders of operations are that first we simplify within parentheses or other symbols of inclusion from inside to outside before we simplify the outside of the parentheses. Then we're going to simplify our powers and roots. We're going to multiply and divide in order from left to right. And we're going to add or subtract in order from left to right. It doesn't matter whether it's subtraction or addition that comes first. We just have to go from left to right. So everyone should know this phrase. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That helps to remind us of the order of operations. At first we do our parentheses, then we look at exponents and roots, and then we do the multiplication or division, starting from the left of the equation, going to our right, whichever we come across. If we come across a division problem, we're going to do it. And then if we come across multiplication, we're going to do it. We're going to do either one of those before we do any adding or subtracting, because addition and subtraction comes last. And remember, again, we go from left to right. So let's go ahead and simplify this one here. First of all, we don't have any parentheses, so we don't have to do that. We don't have any exponents or roots. We don't need to do any of those. So we can go right down to step 3, which is our multiplication and our division. And as we go from left to right, the first thing we come to is this right here, 4 times 3. So we're going to do that first. So we're going to write our 2 plus 12, because 4 times 3 equals 12. Then it says minus 4 divided by 2. So we're going to keep on going to our right, and the next thing we come to is our 4 divided by 2. So we're going to do that next. So we've got 2 plus 12 minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now we go back to our left and we start all over again. Going across, we got 2 plus 12 is 14 minus 2. 14 minus 2 is 12. And that is orders of operations in its simplest form. Let's see if we can do some more, and you see if you can get them done before I can demonstrate them in the video, please. All right, let's look at this one here. Looks a little harder than it really is. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look for some parentheses. Do we see any parentheses? We don't. What type of problem are we dealing with here? Well, it's a division problem with some additional stuff involved. So we're gonna leave this 2 alone because we don't need to do anything with that yet. So we're going to start right up here on top. We're going to go from left to right. We don't have any parentheses, but we do have an exponent right here. So we're going to do that first. And 3 squared means 3 times 3, which means 9. So now we have 9 plus 3 times 5, all divided by 2. So moving from left to right now, do we have any more exponents? We don't. We don't have any roots. So now we're going to do multiplication division. As we go across, we come across this 3 times 5. So we go ahead and do that. So we leave our 9 alone. So 9 plus and 3 plus 5 is 15. So now we got 9 plus 15 all over 2 being divided by 2. So we go ahead and we left to right. That becomes 24 divided by 2. Our answer again should equal 12. All right, and as you work through these on your homework, you should have these same steps. You should end up with a funnel down here to 12. Okay, this one, for some reason, these give students trouble. I don't know why. Other than that, it's because they're using these variables, these instead of numbers. But then they come over here and they tell you what those represent. So whenever you see this, all you have to do is plug and chug. You go ahead and plug everything in. So the A, for every A we see, we're going to plug in a 3. So we're going to write 3 plus, and then we put in another 3. And then we see that the B is equal to 4. So that's going to be, anytime two are right next to each other like this, that means multiplication. So now we've got, that's what it looks like. So going from left to right, we don't do anything with our 3, we leave it alone. But here we have a multiplication problem. And 3 times 4 is 12. So now we write it again. So we got 3 plus 12. That equals 15. Our answer is 15. And we see evaluate, simplify. All those mean the same thing. It means to solve them. And again, we have our funnel. The main thing is, remember that this, anytime you see anything right next to each other like that, it means to multiply. If we didn't multiply this 3 times 4, if we didn't have the parentheses to tell us to multiply, it would look like the number 34, and that would change our whole problem, and that's not what we want to do. Okay, let's look at this one here. Again, we're inserting information. So see if you can do this one. We've got x and y. The x, it tells us the x is equal to 9, so we're going to go ahead and write a 9, and then it has a y. Well, the y is equal to 2/3, so we got 9 times 2/3. Now, to keep things simple, I'm just going to put my 9 over a 1. That's going to make it easier for me. And then it says minus, and then it says x over 2, which we can change to, because the x equals 9, so we can change that x to a 9 and put it over the 2. So here's our problem. 9 times 2/3 minus 9 divided by 2. So working from left to right, first thing we come across is this multiplication problem right here. 9 times 2, because we multiply straight across when we do fractions, remember? So 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 3 is 3. So we've got 18 over 3 minus 9 over 2. All right, our next thing that we need to do is to get a common denominator, which is going to be 6. So now we've got, so that's going to be 36 over 6 minus 27 over 6. And 36 minus 27 is 9. So 9 over 6 should be 1 and 3, 1 and 3/6, which is 1 and 1/2. Okay, so let's see how they did it. They may have done it just a little bit different. They did. They went ahead and they simplified this right here and turned this all into a 6. That's probably was an easier way of doing it. And then they took this and converted it to an improper fraction, and then just took 6 minus 4.5 and came up with 1.5. Either way works, whichever way your mind works and the way you see it. Just the important thing is that you came up with the same answer. Okay, let's see if you can do this one here before you move on to your TIDs. See if you can solve this. Pause the video and see if you can do this one, get an answer, and then restart it and see how I did it. Okay, so I've got no parentheses, so I don't have to worry about those. Next thing I look for is exponents, and I've got exponents right here. So I'm going to do those first. 2 cubed means 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that becomes an 8. And 3 squared is 3 times 3, so that's a 9, plus 2 times 5 all over 3. Well, going from left to right, now I'm done with my exponents, I'm done with my roots, I'm done with my parentheses. Now I look for multiplication and division. So I go across here, I see this multiplication right here, so I've got to do that. So I've got 8 plus 9 plus 10, because 2 times 5 is 10, all over 3. Now we just add them across. I got 8 plus 9, 17, plus 10 is 27 over 3. So our answer equals 9. Hopefully you came up with that same answer. And there are your TIDs. We'll see you tomorrow in class. Thank you for watching this lesson on orders of operations. I hope you understand it. It's a very common area of errors that students make. They don't do things in the proper order, in the proper sequence. So practice it. Make sure you understand it, and we'll see you tomorrow in class.